Are you multitasking over there?
I am. I'm actually opening it
Okay.
as we speak. And desperately trying not to panic.
Okay then.
Okay. Actually, I need to share my screen. Oh, I lost my picture. Oop.
Kelly, can you hear me right now?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I was just wondering a little bit about right before it starts. So I'm already going to have my slideshow up, not running, but PowerPoint up rather than what we got right now. It's going to be up on my screen, ready to go. Is that correct?
Yep. Just have it opened up, ready and waiting, and then
Yeah.
when you're ready to actually start it, just click the share screen button and select your thing.
Oh, click that green button, share screen. Boom.
Yep.
Okay.
There goes my cell phone.
Oh,
Well, I hope it wasn't important because I can't see it.
mm.
I know who it was. All right. Okay. So for the few people who are watching right now, if anybody has any questions you want to drop into the chat, I can try to handle those right now. We're it's a little bit of a work in progress, so I hope you guys will forgive us if we're a little confused for the first bits of this. Paula, that's an awesome question. This will be a regular event through this summer. There'll be every Thursday night until August 20th, I think. At which point they will stop for the season. Whether we could do them again next year, we'll have to see how things go. Would love to, but it'll just pretty much entirely depend on timing and whether it's feasible. We might be able to do both, but we'll have to be looking at it after this is over, do a decompress, a brainstorm, and see how things work from there. Also, if you're wondering who the guy is in the picture, that's Rick.
How we doing?
I'll come over too.
And so we've been asked to introduce ourselves. So I'm Kelly. I am the Loon Center manager. As you might be able to tell from the tag in the chat. I've been at the Loon Center for a few years now. And these are our speakers, who I'm going to let introduce themselves for a quick bit right here.
How are you? Rick Libby from Team Mooseman.
And I'm Libby, soon to be Libby from Team Mooseman. Currently Libby Corbin. That's until the 25th of this month.
Congratulations, you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. We're very happy. Very excited. I'm gonna go get a phone book to sit on. This chair's too low.
Okay.
Go ahead. 23 people.
Hmm?
23 people so far.
Really?
25. They're starting to trickle in.
Cool. And you see that where?
At the right under the stream on YouTube. It'll come up saying how many are watching and also how long we've been streaming.
Ah,
So yeah, 29 people watching, and we've been apparently live for 10 minutes.
okay.
Oh, how embarrassing.
Well, I have the feeling for this one, we'll probably end up having to do a little bit of editing at the beginning to get maybe rid of some of this stuff.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
doubt.
it's all good.
I'm taller now. I don't feel it. See, I'm gonna use that little short head next to me. I'll switch in. So does anybody have any questions leading into this
Questions, comments?
before we go live,
We're here.
before we're officially on?
Yeah, just drop questions in the chat and I'll read them over. That's how we'll plan on probably doing it for the night. So that way.
Could you turn that air down even lower?
And there is a delay on the chat, there is a delay on YouTube, just so everybody knows. So that way, there's about a 30-second delay between what we've just said and what you guys are hearing, just so you know.
Okay. Hmm.
Partially so we remember when we say, hey, if you've got questions, it's going to take a couple minutes. And also so that way, just everybody else knows that there's a delay. That's it. Any special conditions for the loons this year? It's been really dry this year, but I don't know 100. I know Rick's got a couple of interesting stories from one of the lakes that he's on about that, but as far as overall, it seems like it's been a pretty normal year.
Yep.
For what we've been expecting to see for hatch and that sort of stuff. So I don't know that the the dryness necessarily caused too many issues. I'm guessing that was probably what you were asking, Sarah. At least I hope.
So we only know of one pond where the water level is an issue, but that's because the work that was done on the dam was completed, but the dam wasn't plugged at the bottom. The grate at the bottom of the dam wasn't
They
plugged.
didn't close the valve.
They didn't close it.
Yeah.
So the water ran out of that pond all winter long. We discovered it in right about ice out. There was still water in the pond, of course, but considerably less than there should have been. So that pond had an issue this year, especially for the loons nesting. But otherwise, the water is low in some places, but not alarmingly so. We have had some rain.
Yeah, thankfully we've gotten some rain recently. Let me see. We had a question about how many people we could normally fit in the Loon Center for a talk like this. And if we end up getting to a point of standing room only, we've actually had up over 100 people at these in the center. Normally, if we have just seats out and that sort of stuff, it's usually about 70 or 75. So yeah, we're about half there now, which is pretty great. And the nice thing about this is that you don't necessarily have to be here tonight to see this. If you're interested in watching it tomorrow, you don't have to come tonight. We won't be able to answer your questions if you're not here tonight, but
Yeah, come on, come tonight.
you definitely can show up later. We're at about the 5 minutes to mark.
Okay. So as soon as we start, I'll start my timer.
feel like I should jump over and tell all those Loon Cam watchers to
Yeah, join the party.
join the party. Come on over. So we've been asked by Paula if there's only one chick right now. There, as far as I know, the first chick hatched this morning. I don't think we have a second chick yet. That would probably be within the next couple of days, given how long they usually go, how long they went between laying their eggs, which I think was every couple of days, which I think was a couple of days. And a donate button. That is an excellent idea. I need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Give me a quick second and I'll see if I can get it into the description.
Oh, good idea.
Assuming I can figure out how to get into the description. Let me see.
He's got us on television.
Yeah, Harry's gonna try to see us on YouTube too, on TV.
We're getting close.
Were you trying to put a hot button in for donate?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if I could figure out how to do it in the actual like description of the chat, but then I'm realizing there isn't, or in the description of the stream, but then I'm realizing with the way it passed over, I don't think it actually gave me a lot of options for that.
Oh.
So it may end up having to go into the, I know what I can do. I'll just have to remember to do this a couple of times throughout the talk. Once I can
Put a little comment on the YouTube.
put it
comment
right in
section.
the chat. Once I can find our webpage on my browser.
What are people seeing?
What are people seeing right now? They're
Right.
actually, they're seeing just two windows of basically what we're seeing on Zoom.
Oh,
Yeah, my buddy Dean just texted me a picture. It was you on one side and us on the other on his TV.
okay.
All right, donate, there it goes. Copy. All right. So here is a link in the chat for our Loon sent for our LPC donate page. I'll drop that in a couple more times throughout the night. Good shout on that. Thank you very much for suggesting it. I hadn't thought of that. First one of these and all, we're going to catch a lot of things we probably didn't 100% catch on to. Also, yes, Tucson, that is a great comment that this is the virtual COVID hat. All right, give it a couple more minutes for a few more people to possibly stroll on in because we're just about. And then we can go from there.
When should I put my screen up?
After I do a quick introduction. So
Okay.
basically I'll do the, once we actually started as a live welcome, I'll do that and then.
Yeah, and I'll just pop it up.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Right. Stop staring at my screen and actually look up at the camera.
You have to put something like little googly eyes where your camera is. You have to put
Yeah.
little something up there so it draws your attention. You look up there to speak. Because I keep dropping my eyes down to look at you. So
Well-
my eyes are always dropped down and yeah, it's natural, right?
Yeah, looking at the screen, I'm looking at the chat. I should put
Yeah.
that big rubber ducky I have up there so
There
I
you
can stare at it.
go.
Hmm, 74?
We're almost at capacity, huh?
Almost at what,
If we were at the Loon Center.
Yeah.
In Jersey, yeah. Yeah, that's all right.
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
Give this another minute or two and then I'll,
Yeah, let people come into the room and get settled. And pick a seat.
it never starts at exactly.
No, never. These things never do.
I know what I'm going to put up here. I have something that I usually would use over my camera. There's a little icon and it sits on top of things. So I'm just going to put that on top of my camera and I'll talk to that.
Perfect.
Alrighty. And just in case anybody's wondering, we've had a few people telling us where they're from. We've got some people from Minnesota. A lot of people from New Hampshire, obviously. Someone in from North Carolina.
Hi, North Carolina. Hi, Minnesota.
I don't know if I've probably missed one along the way, and if I have, I apologize.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
If we get people from our Mooseman page over here, they're from all over the world, but they're in different time zones, so hard to say.
Yeah, I think a lot will be watching later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it will be pretty cool to see how many people and who or where people are coming in from.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ooh, and now we've got everybody giving us shout outs for where they're from, which is awesome.
Okay, cool.
That's
Indiana,
fun.
West Virginia, Alaska,
Wow.
Lake New York,
Yes. Alaska.
Cincinnati,
Alaska?
Tacoma.
Alaska?
Yep, we've had some from Alaska.
That's awesome.
Oh,
I guess happy lunchtime or thereabouts for Alaska right now.
Well, it's actually 3 o'clock.
So
Yep.
tea
Yeah.
time.
yes, right.
Okay, I think we've got the most long distance one already. We've got Auckland, New Zealand.
There you go.
Hey, Kiwi
Awesome.
land.
Thank you, New Zealand. That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Someone from right down the street. I don't know if that's for the Loon Center or for Rick and Libby, but either one, that's awesome. Excellent answer for that.
Right down the street. I love it.
A
That's
lot of
great.
people. A lot of people from New Hampshire. We've got a couple of other people from New York. Someone from New Jersey. Just pretty great.
Yeah.
That is fun.
And right down the street. So we're hitting everywhere.
I like it.
Local, regional, we're even international,
World famous.
which is great.
It is. Loon
Alrighty,
Center is world famous.
we're world famous.
Yeah.
Florida and North Carolina. Or I said North Carolina. And apparently right down the street is from Moultonborough.
Okay.
So there we go.
Hi, Nora. Hi, Norm. Yeah.
Noam.
Norm Lesser. Yeah. Shout out. Yep. And Nora.
And we've got a specific hi Rick and Lib from Melody Pariseau. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right.
Ah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, Mel.
Hi, Mel. Hi, Dean.
Hey, Dean.
All right, so I think we'll get this started since we're got quite a few people coming in and all that happy stuff. So welcome everybody in the chat and also just coming in through video. This is the Loon Preservation Committee's first summer nature talk of 2020. We do these every year, usually starting the Thursday after the 4th of July and going through till about the third or fourth week of August, depending on how things fall with dates and that sort of thing. Tonight's talk is going to be with Rick and Libby, Team Mooseman, which is pretty awesome. They've been doing this for the first talk of the season, getting us a great inaugural talk for the last few years now. Always great to have them come in. A little bit about the Loon Preservation Committee, because, you know, that's why I'm here. We were founded in 1975 to help protect New Hampshire's loons and their habitats in I already said in New Hampshire. Please excuse me as I fumble through this. This is the first time for this, also for me being on YouTube. So be nice to me, please.
It's all good.
We're located, the Loon Preservation Committee is located in Moultonborough, New Hampshire. And at this point in the year, if you're in the area, you are probably seeing our field staff running around, putting out signs, roping, potentially, well, at this point, probably putting in their rope nests or the rope lines for the nests, because this is around the time of the year that loons will start to have their chicks. So you'll be seeing the nest signs coming in and the loon chick signs going out on the lakes, letting people know that they're out there. So if you're on a lake and you see someone putting out a sign, obviously keep some distance, but feel free to say hi and, you know, wave and tell them you love what you're doing, because we all love to hear it. And it's been a weird year, so thank you all for joining us here. We know this is a little bit strange, and we do appreciate everybody being here. And now I'm going to introduce, as I said, Team Mooseman, which is Rick Libby and Libby Corbin. And as I said, they've been doing this for quite a few years for us, which is great. They're beautiful photography. A little bit of information that I found out about them is part of the reason why they can get such awesome photography is that they are out with the animals in the most respectful ways possible. They're out there quiet, floating in a kayak, getting as close as the animal will let them without bothering the animals. So you'll see some really, really great stuff just because the animals are pretty cool with the fact that they're there. They also, what was it last night? You guys just hide behind a tree.
Well,
that was one of the other challenges. For the moose, yes, they hide behind a tree and hope for the best if the moose are fighting. So you'll see some really great stuff for that as well.
Buckle in.
Yeah.
Oh, if someone wants to know who's speaking, I should probably introduce myself. My name's Kelly. I am the Loon Center manager here at the Loon Center. Well, I'm not actually at the Loon Center right now, but you know what I mean. And quick shout out for the Loon Center. We are open now. We were closed for a while because of COVID, but we are now actually open. So if you're in the area and feel like stopping by, feel free to pop in, say hi. We love seeing people come in. And now I'm actually going to turn the talk over to Rick and Libby, and I hope you guys enjoy the presentation.
Okay, I'm going to click on.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I always start this one here by just speaking about the Loon Center in general. We all need to be so thankful to have this dedicated group of people working to help protect these loons. I know Libby and I both are very, very thankful for all they do. And I just wanted to put that out there. Kelly talked a little bit about it, but you know, let's just all be grateful for all they do. I'd also like to just talk a little bit about photography, what we do. There's a wide group of people, and I'd just like to acknowledge a couple of my favorites, our favorites. One would be Dean Paraso from Southbridge, Mass. Humble Valley Photography. He's a dear friend of mine and just a very gifted artist. And another favorite of ours is a man named Dale Martin from Lunenburg, Massachusetts. And his company is Massapog Pond Photography. Feel free to reach out and I could get you their information on our Facebook page or whatever have you. So a little bit about the journey we're on. I've been on it for 40 years. I shot 30 years with film. The photo you're looking at is just me with an old Nikon film camera, a manual focus lens. I mean, those are the basic days. And about 12 years ago, I switched to digital photography. Libby came on board to the company 5 years ago. She's co-owner now, and Libby has just recently transitioned from Nikon to Sony digital cameras. So we're using Nikons and Sonys, and so that's kind of an interesting dynamic
Yeah,
in
two-gear
itself.
household, it's kind of unusual because I was Nikon for 40 years or so, but I just made the switch. So it's working out so far.
All right, so we're going to get started.
Rick, did you share your screen?
What's that?
Did you share the screen?
Yes.
Are you not seeing us?
I'm not seeing. I'm seeing you guys. I'm not actually seeing a presentation yet.
Not
I
seeing
just
the
want to make
show.
sure.
Hold on. Sorry. This is the first time, so let's. Okay.
It's the green button down at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got it? We there?
Nope,
No?
not yet. Nope.
Share screen, okay. Host disabled.
Oh, hang on.
it's you. Okay,
I'm disabled.
Okay, hang on. I got it.
all right, excellent, wonderful.
Are we on?
Let me see.
So as I was speaking, you weren't seeing the,
So we just have to roll the tape. We've already spoken our intro, so we'll
Yeah.
just roll tape. Okay.
Yep, you should be able to go now. Sorry, there was a setting on my
No,
side.
don't worry. This is how we work things out.
hey, we're just getting going. Okay.
Do you see that?
Can everybody see?
Why isn't?
Okay.
We all good?
No, for whatever reason, it's okay. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Who can share? I have it set to everybody, so let's see if this will work this time.
Did we do the audio and all that?
I can hear stuff.
Okay. How about everybody out there in TV land? Can they see anything?
Any comments coming in?
Some people asking if we're supposed to be seeing something. A couple people offering advice.
Okay.
Temporary
it's-
technical difficulties.
Okay.
My buddy is texting in saying he's just seeing the two of us.
Huh. All right, let's see. I'm gonna share this out for a second. Hang on, hold up with us, people. Sorry.
And we want to make sure the volume is on for them as well.
Yep. Come on. This worked yesterday.
Yeah, it was fine yesterday.
Sorry, folks. Maiden journey here.
Yeah.
Okay, who can share? All participants. Who can start? All participants. So that should be, you guys should be good. Put myself back on for a second too.
Okay.
Oh. And now you just need to select I've got your screen,
Okay.
Okay.
and now you just have to, there we go.
We good?
We're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Can everybody hear?
We need feedback because we have no way of knowing. So.
And there we go.
Make sure we're okay with doing.
All right, let's give things. Looks like we're getting here we go. So we should be good to go.
Oh, he says we're good.
Okay.
Sound is good.
Awesome.
So I'll start the timer.
Hmm. Takes me right there.
Yeah. We love the quiet. We love the fog. We love the mornings.
All right. So there's a little opening video. A little bit about the objective, and the objective is just to nurture and respect the wildlife. It used to be all about the photographs. That has all changed. We're obviously still photographing and we love it, but it's about nurturing and respecting and gathering information. We love to work with the Loon Center, providing information on these beautiful birds. These are just some of, I like the early modern fog stuff. This is kind of my little area of specialty. We're both enjoying shooting a lot of video these days, but these are just some of my favorite early morning scenes. It's typically feet on the floor at 20 minutes of 4 a.m. Get to the pond for 4:30. Get out in the water by 4:45. This shot right here, it's one of my personal favorites. It hasn't done that well in the Mooseman booth, which is fine. But I just love this photograph. I worked a long time to get it. I love the softness. I love the mood of it. And obviously the little moment with the Loon family. But anyway, it's one of my faves for sure. This is the #1 selling Loon photograph for the whole show. And it's a pretty old photograph. It was shot about 10 years ago. Just that classic, what do we call it, Lib? We call it
Breakfast in bed.
breakfast in bed.
It's
Yeah,
really
that's-
hard when during a feeding like this. You got 2 chicks. You got the dynamics of the parent with carrying the chicks is usually moving. The one bringing in the food is moving. The chicks are moving. It's very difficult to get all of their eyes, or at least an eye of every animal,
Right.
showing. And believe me, I've tried probably 1,000 times, and I've still not yet gotten this shot.
It's
myself.
really difficult to get the eyes, like she said, of all of them, the babies and both adults. One adult is easy, but getting them both is a little bit difficult.
Try it sometime.
Now, you'll notice as you look at these photographs, now what we're looking for when we're working with the loons is complete calmness on their part. And their head, the top of their head, we want to see a nice, like you're seeing in this photograph, a nice, round, smooth top of their head, meaning they're at ease, everything's fine. And these are the conditions we want to work in.
Otherwise, they raise their heads like a dome, kind of like a beluga whale or a porpoise. They can do that shape of their head when they raise their head feathers. That means they're concerned about something, and we don't want them concerned when we're around.
That's right. There's a loon coming in, wing walking, one loon going to investigate an intruder and teaching he or she a lesson, most likely. Here's one of Libby's special shots. This is from a little pond up north, one of Harry Vogel's favorites.
Definitely mine.
And Libby's favorite as well.
Yeah.
Now these photos here, these are a couple days old. These loons are right now, today, they were 9 days old this morning. So this was taken a few days ago. So these chicks are roughly, in this photo, they're 5-6 days old. These would be even a little younger. So these guys are, I think, 2 or 3 days old. But these are this year's babies. Welcome to the world.
Yeah. Good luck. That's my shot from last summer up at my little favorite pond up in the White Mountains.
This one's popular.
Timed it just perfectly. I waited for the one loon to drift in closer while the chick was in front of the dad over there on the right-hand side. The mom drifted closer. And I thought, just do it in front of the flowers. And it all turned out really well. I'm very happy with that. I call this one Twin Taxi. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but both parents are each packing a one of their chicks.
Kind of like a rumble seat, right?
Yeah.
Rumble seat in the car.
Yeah.
One of my favorites here. We call these tucked and topside. The little one tucked under the wing and one up topside on the back. Again, this year's photographs. Now this is a nice, quiet, in rest mode photograph. Now, this particular moment, this particular second, the adult loon has its eyes open, but basically in this mode, when the head's resting on her back like that, she's usually going to take a nap. And so her eyes are mostly closed, but every 5 seconds or so, she'll open her eye to look around, make sure everything is okay. And that's what this moment is. Another second later, and she's back, closed eyes. This is just special. I've never seen this before. It just kind of happened the other day.
Yeah.
In Lib shot video, and I shot stills. That's kind of cool about working as a team. But just to have this mother just resting her beak on her baby's neck, it's like you are all tucked in. Sweet moment right there.
They're only young like that for a very short time. They grow up so quickly.
Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed.
And
All right, we're going to look at a few of them. I like to do a lot of panoramic work, wide scenic shots. I've been doing this for a long time, this particular style of shooting. It's one of my favorite things to try to do.
this is a unique shot because both of the chicks are wing flapping at the same time, and
This
that's
is a pretty tough one to
that's
get.
hard to
too.
get.
This is 20 years on the pond, you know.
Looks like they're both saying, "Pick me, pick me."
A little thing of note this year at the pond, you see the adult loons feeding fish, which is, of course, one of the main things they feed their babies. First day, sometimes insects, but it's usually fish and crayfish. But this year on the pond we've been paddling, it's been mostly crayfish and just a few fish. So that's going to be kind of ongoing, what's going on there. But we're definitely seeing about 8 out of every 10 tries, it's a crayfish rather than a fish. So something we're going to be watching. All right, we're going to segue. These are some visiting loons. So sometimes they can be what's called a rogue, coming in looking for trouble. Other times it'll be visitors from another pond, just coming in from another pond, stopping in to have something to eat. And often the mated pairs, the adult that is not with the chicks at the time will go over and mingle and socialize. We call it socializing with the other visiting loons. So there's 6 loons here. Chances are a couple of these are actually resident loons and they're socializing with the visitors. So another little video clip here. Oh, I love this. One of my favorite sounds right there.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
It is.
don't seem to be getting audio from the video.
Oh,
It's really, it's slight right now.
yeah,
Okay.
there's not much sound.
Okay.
Just ever so slight. Maybe reach out to Dean. Not much sound.
Watching them feed is amazing. They'll bring up a microscopic fish and feed it, and the chick will get it surgically from the tip of their beaks.
Okay, here we go.
This is actually how this whole thing went down. Like the first hour of the chicks in the water.
These chicks are brand new. First time in the water.
Loons have it kind of tough. They gotta be on the lookout, ever diligent.
All right. Here comes trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to see a loon in this position. Low like that. Yeah. It's not just going for a dive.
Here comes mom coming in to help.
Guns blazing. Well, what you're not seeing in the video is there is a rogue off to the side that was coming into their territory just as Dad had brought the chicks out. They chased it away.
So I'm just going to pause in a minute. So yeah, that was the trouble. I'm going to start it again. So we're going to go from now and we're going to move ahead a week here. A week later. Here we go. So this is the video that Libby shot when I was taking the stills. It's just 2 days ago, I think.
Yeah.
Little stretch of the
Little
leg.
foot waggle.
Little mini leg wag.
That loon is the mom on the right. She always takes the fish from the dad and feeds the chick herself. Always.
This is really funny
Even
about
when
this
the chick
bear.
is on her back,
Uh-huh.
she takes the food from the
Yeah,
dad.
that is amazing.
They're banded, so I know who's male and who's female. That's all.
Look at this. Look
Yeah.
at there it is.
Yeah,
Give it to me. Give it to me.
I'm gonna feed him. You can't feed him. Oh no, you got away with it.
Love it. All right. We're going to switch to a tiny, tiny little baby moose.
We're gonna moose now.
Going on the moose. Pretty amazing. So this little guy is about 6 weeks old, and in another 10 weeks, that little tiny guy is going to be about 300 pounds and heading into his or her first winter. So what you're looking at here is a 14-month-old moose and his first little tiny set of antlers. I call them little buds. Now, those are going to be, it's July right now when this was shot. And by the 3rd week of August, those tiny little antlers are only going to grow to about 3 to 4 inches long. And that's going to be it for him for the year. That's going to be his first set of antlers. Now, in 5-6 years, he's going to have more like this.
Keeping in mind they shed them every winter.
Right, right.
You start the whole
So
process.
going back to the little guy, he's going to grow a little set. They're going to be a little, this big
Single spike. Yeah.
at the third week of August. And going into winter, that little thing is going to fall off. And then in the spring, he's going to start all over again. And this all moose grow new antlers every season. Show you some more baby moose. This guy, of course, played in hide and seek here. These are the cutest little guys. Now, baby moose stay with their mother for a full year. They basically, they're able to swim in a matter of like 2 days. But so they get right in the water. They're fully capable of swimming across the big lake at 2 days old. But they have about a year's worth of learning how to be a moose and how to survive to get to be an adult moose. Potbelly the moose. I'm going to stop on this slide for a second and just say one thing. I could do a whole show on this one moose. This is pretty special to me, pretty deep in my soul, this one particular moose. Yeah, Potbelly, the picture kind of tells why I named her that. She taught me much. I watched her have many, many calves. This is from film. You're not looking at a digital picture here. This is Kodak film. Way back. She would leave her babies with me and go off. Oh, by the way, Potbelly is a professional eater, right? I mean, she is
She
just.
earned her name.
She earned her name. Now, often moose feeding sessions last, say, 60 minutes, maybe a little over an hour sometimes, or less. Potbelly would have no problem eating for 9 to 10 hours without stopping. Not a problem for her at all. Then she would disappear for like a week.
Tank up.
But this is one of her babies. I called her a little sweet pea. Now, 5 years later, that little baby grew up to be a mom herself. And so the little guy there hiding underneath Sweet Pea is Potbelly's grandson. Pretty cool stuff. So those are the things you can gather. So if you're wondering, how do you know all this? How do you figure all this out? Well, been keeping a journal for a long time. Write down scars, markings on face, locations. There's so much you can learn when you really study them year in, year out.
I also want to comment, you're seeing moose in the water right now. The reason that they're in the water is because in this time of year, when the pond vegetation starts to grow, moose gravitate to eat it because it holds like 500 times the calcium that land vegetation holds for them. They need to tank back up on their lost calories and nutrition that winter ravages tore out of them. So, and then, you know, you've got a mother making milk and you've got a young one trying to grow up and they got to grow bones and muscle tissue. So
yep,
there you go. And bulls have to grow
bulls
antlers.
Bulls have to grow antlers.
Yep.
It's all about those water plants.
Yeah.
Now we're here in New England. We haven't gone across the country yet. We're going to, but here in New England, it's all about water plants. 50 to 60 pounds of water plants, day after day after day. It's fascinating. This is a small New Hampshire bull. I'm going to introduce Boss to you. Welcome, Facebook followers. Many of you are very familiar with Boss. Here he is at 4 years old. And 3 years later at 7 years old. So keep in mind, sitting in a kayak down right on the water, you can kind of tell by the angle of this photo. Boss was a very gentle bull though. He was very easy to be around.
You read their body language rather, and you can gauge where you stand with them. Ears up is always a good sign.
Ears up, yeah. So just a quick toggle here. So these two photos were taken about 2 weeks apart. And if you look close, you could see this is 2 weeks earlier, 2 weeks later. I mean, look at that growth. In particular, look at those front brows, the long one sticking out the front here, just above his eyes. Look how long they are. And then look back here. See, they're 2 or 3 inches shorter, just in a matter of a couple of weeks. These guys start growing these antlers in early March, and by August 23rd or so, give or take a day, growth is done. And they rub all that velvet off. And underneath is the clean rack, getting ready to head into the fall rut season. We're showing you some of the bigger bulls of this area up in Maine that we love to frequent. These are big dominant bulls with the heavy beams at the base of the head. You can tell a bigger, older, more mature moose by the beams near the head.
I just want to make a comment. Moose antlers or antlers of mammals on the planet are at one time the fastest growing tissue of any animal on the planet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's
Fun
an old
facts to know.
fun facts. Here's an old pal. I call him Bruiser. Just a lovely, lovely moose. Spent many a night with this fellow. He didn't come out much, but when he came out, he put on quite the show. Very large moose for here in New England.
Interesting. He's got that drop tine on his right paddle.
Yeah,
That would be his royal tine, but it's a drop tine right there. They're just atypical.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Here he is again. Now what's happening here, obviously it's sunset. So this makes me think of just telling you kind of like a moose's life. And it's such a simple, they have a tough life, but yet it's simple. So here's what moose do. They're either feeding, they're either bedded down, or they're going to feeding area, which is what these guys are doing, or they're leaving the feeding area, going back to bed down. So it's going to eat, going to bed, feeding, or sleeping. That's what a moose does. Yeah. That's what a moose does. Yeah. Until the fall, when it's mating and everything. Now that's another story, and we'll share that with you. Yeah. But in the middle of the summer, life is good. They're eating, they're sleeping, and they're going to and from eating and sleeping. It's such a simple thing, Shout out to my friend Dean for telling me to go back and capture this moment. My friend Dean and I had been shooting for hours, and I was calling it a day, but Dean said, "Don't you think you should go back? The sun was setting behind that moose." And I looked at him like, "Yeah, I guess so." And ended up to be a sweet moment. This is possible, by the way, same guy. All right, so you've just been getting a look at moose in New England, and now we're going to take a little drive. We're going to go across the country, and we're going to go to Alaska. Back in 2016, it was actually my friend Dean who invited Libby and I on a trip out to Alaska for moose. That very first year, I think we did 9 days.
Yeah, way too short.
Well, Libby and I we just fell in love out there.
I think everybody does.
Yeah, and anyway, we said we're going to do it for longer. So we're scheduled to leave in a few weeks here. We'll be gone for almost 40 days this year, but let's go out to Alaska and have a little look.
Boom.
Boom, here we are. So we're going to, I think I'll just say briefly, there's 4 subspecies of moose in North America. And this is we've gone from the New England species to the Alaskan bull. The Alaskan species is the largest of the 4.
For those of you who've been there, that mountain on the right was Denali, and the one on the left was Florida.
So a little sparring, early season sparring. This is not a moose fight, okay? We're going to show you some fights, but this is just testing. We call it sparring.
They still have velvet hanging off their antlers that they haven't raked off all the way yet.
You can see the velvet hanging around, bouncing around. Look, it just fell on his neck.
We have a YouTube channel as well, and you can see these on the Mooseman YouTube channel.
Well, welcome to everybody. It's so glad to have you on here watching this. Welcome to Facebook. Here we go.
We name them.
Now this is a battle. Buckle in. Whew.
I just slow it down for you to appreciate the mass of these animals and the power. They actually they had their antlers locked there briefly.
They did for about a minute,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
We
And
cut
then
some of that out.
they finally,
They broke away, and then this
One
one
all-
almost goes down. And
this is a massive, massive pair. This is a
yeah.
pretty equal pair right here.
Sorry we couldn't stick around and film more, but our safety was, we didn't have a tree near us for this one, so we had to just pack up and go.
Like right about now.
Yeah. Time to go.
Yeah.
But we got better at it, so.
All right. So we talked about the velvet
Missing sound on the fight.
missing sound on the fight.
I don't know why.
Oh,
I guess the audio needed to be turned up or something.
I had it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, folks. Maiden journey here. Back to the show. The velvet, the shedding of the velvet. Here it is. So this guy is he's just gonna rake bushes and trees, and he's gonna kind of scrape all this velvet off. You can see fresh blood underneath. And in a matter of just a few days, it would be looking like this guy. So this is King James. He's one of the bigger bulls in the area. He was the one just in that fight you just witnessed. Here he is again. So a little toggle here. So this is 2 different years. You can see very similar antler pattern. If you look at the front brow tines, they're very, very similar.
That was a moment I caught. It was raining and I was following, this is King James, I was paralleling him and he kept grunting and I figured there must be a cow up ahead, but there was nothing but a wall of trees between us. And I kept getting glimpses of him as he walked forward. So I thought maybe there is a cow up there and maybe there's a clearing, and this is what happened. So it was pretty lucky. I was having to run to keep up with him.
Mm-hmm. Here's a still picture of that battle. King James on the left, I believe. Yep.
I like the way the cow's looking from the distance, like,
See,
okay, I'll just wait here.
It's all over her. See her in
Yeah,
the background?
yeah.
This is what it's all about. It's so fascinating to watch the rut unfold. I'm probably going to say this more than once during this part of the presentation. One of the things I love the most about the moose rut is how slowly it unfolds. Starting with the light sparring at the beginning of it, and it just kind of goes along day by day. And it takes a couple weeks for these fights to really start happening, but it's just such a slow.
It gets intense though.
It is intense.
It gets intense when the girls come to town and the action starts, it gets intense.
Yeah. Here's the guy we call 22. We've met some wonderful friends out there, the locals, as we say. Just met a handful of
absolutely.
wonderful
Yeah,
people.
Can't say it enough.
They've welcomed us not only into their area, but as friends. We've established some friendships that are going to last a lifetime, without a doubt.
Yeah.
They call this guy 22. He's typically got 22 points. Sometimes he has more, sometimes less, but the name stuck, and every year he is just good old 22. He's the top bull in the area. King James, the guy you just witnessed, he has the last couple of years pretty much become elderly in moose terms, and he is passing the throne per se on to at this time anyway. Last year, this was the top bull in the area.
And he's a gentle giant too. Some have temperaments, like King James had a temper that you always had to have a tree around you. 22, you can see he's bedded down the open there, and we are too. We're just on our knees right there in front of him.
Yeah.
Some of the scenery that we're dealing with out there in places.
Okay.
That's Denali.
This is a guy named Jake. Jake's an interesting bull. He is up and coming. About 3 years ago, he was pretty insignificant. Tiny little guy. He was kind of, I guess we'll say, on the perimeter of things. Not getting into any of the action, just kind of watching from the outside. But these last couple of years, he's put on a lot of weight, a lot of bulk, a lot of antler size. And
And a lot of attitude.
last year, he became a player, and he became a big player. We'll show you a little bit more of him in a little bit. Back to a guy we call Grumpy. This is just a still photo from that sparring session.
Grumpy is the bull that has a massive bell with
Yeah.
no rope.
Right.
This is how we identify the bulls, is
So you can tell
scars, you know,
what Lib means
Yeah,
is the bell, the thing hanging down under his neck there.
dewlap.
It's
Yep.
called a dewlap. It's big and fleshy. Some of them have a rope, like the guy on the right has a dewlap with a rope at the end. The guy on the left we call Grumpy, no rope. So these are just some of the ways we can tell quickly who's who. But there's Grumpy again.
He was grumpy the first year we met him, but after that, he's just been
He doesn't
an
even.
absolute peach.
He is.
He's a gem.
He doesn't. His name stuck, but the behavior didn't. As he grew older, he kind of the grumpy part went away, but
Yeah.
the name stuck.
Yeah.
This is our beloved Mr. T. We saw him in 2016, 17, and 18. 2018, we spent the better part of a month with him. And when we arrived last year, hoping to find him, he was not there.
Yeah, we didn't see him last year. We hope that he shows up this year somehow.
We hope to see him. I don't have a lot of hope. You know, moose come and go. Moose, one thing's for sure, moose rise and they fall.
And it is grizzly bear territory out there.
But
It's a fact of life.
we can still hope. And but anyway, Mr. T is just here he is.
And that's him.
Check him out. He's awesome. This is some golden light. That's him up in the background there.
And those are cows fighting over him.
These ladies
Yeah,
are
the
fighting
girls,
over
the
him.
girls fight too. The girls fight for the guys. The guys fight for the girls. It's
Here they come, coming down through. So this is where we talk about, we keep a tree nearby. We want to be able to get behind something, get safe, stay safe. That is number one
these are
priority.
big animals, and boy, when the hormones are raging and they're raging, you just don't want to be in their rage way.
Mr. T-Man wearing a little headgear. Some beautiful evening light.
Interesting schism of his right paddle there.
I see Mr. T's bell is very unique. It's on the small side, absolutely no rope, but not deep and fleshy like Grumpy's. So he had some unique scarring on his face that also identified him positively, but I pretty much can tell him just by his bell, the shape of it. Moose,
Sleeping bull.
they rest a lot. They spend a lot of time resting, a good portion of the day. Moose don't have the ability to sweat. They have a hard time getting rid of heat. In the summer, they'll cool off in the water. In the fall, they will rest a lot. Well, they're also busy fighting and chasing off smaller bulls, and it's just takes a lot out of them. They lose a lot.
Usually as soon as the sun comes up over the horizon, the bulls bed down for the day in the heat. So, yeah, come on up.
Kitty is trying to visit us here. Quick little chat about Hook. Just a wonderful animal. He resides in city limits, actually. We lost Hook a couple years back to a car accident, but a very good friend of mine shared a lot of his story and his life with us. He's become special to us.
He was a well-known bull in Anchorage when he was hit by a drunk driver at 5:30 in the morning one morning. It made the news, and most get hit by cars all the time out there. It doesn't make the news. It may make a little sideline, like the police are responding to a scene, but this one Everybody knew Hook. Hook was known as Hook.
Notice
And
his very unique antlers.
atypical antlers every year.
All right. Just the guy, happy guy, full of gratitude.
Now Hook was a
Never-
very, very tolerant. He was all but tame, right? So that when he was bedded down, we could approach and just be quiet and get down to his level and get that close to him. I wouldn't recommend it with any other animal.
This is back out in the bush. That's Grumpy in the background. That's us,
Yeah,
just
two very happy people.
doing our thing.
Yeah.
This is just a typical day. Couple of Nikons, you know, my Mooseman hat,
Yep.
my vest.
Everybody recognizes Rick.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Off I go. You know,
That's my Loon Center hat.
that's an LPC hat
Yeah,
she's wearing.
that's all I wear.
Loon Center hat.
Yeah.
All right. So snow can come in a hurry up there. This is just after a day of hiking. We're gonna show you another video here. Check a little movie. Hope the volume's all right. I'm gonna check it out.
Maybe people turn up your volume on your computers or whatever, however you're watching.
Let's see if it's working fine. But anyway, here we go. Hopefully we have volume. Oh boy, mismatch. Look at this guy coming in.
This is called a head wag. This, see his ears, his broken ear. Yeah, this is what leads to a fight.
Remember Jake? I talked about Jake up and coming. Jake's the Dhaka bull in back. Check him out. He's come a long way in a couple years. Grumpy. He's got a very interested girlfriend.
Moose dig rut pits. They urinate in the rut pit. It has pheromone release that the cows go crazy over, as you can see. She doesn't care about him. She wants the pit.
Gotta chase you off. Get out of here. You're not welcome.
Okay, here's another head wag leading up to a fight.
Another battle.
Left hook on the right, swagger on the left.
This is
One looks so
intense.
out antlered by the other one, but don't be deceived by his antlers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whew. So
This is the winner.
this is the winner, but he is injured.
Yeah.
It actually put him out of commission for about a week.
Yeah.
He pulled a muscle or something.
Yeah,
This is Swagger, by the way, everybody. Meet Swagger, another favorite.
And that's him after the fight. After a couple more fights, too. He broke an antler there. Look at him. He's battle worn.
Look at the scars. So here's a younger upcoming bull on the right. He's kind of like Jake was a couple years ago. Give him time.
He just came down to check on Swagger and okay, here we go. Moaning cow.
This is amazing.
That's her calf right there, laying down with her. Here's the bin. We named her Mona.
Oh, swagger. Woo.
Little slow motion fun here.
All right.
As you see, we're out there in all kinds of weather.
So we're going to switch from big old moose. We're going to head back. We're going to head back to
Back to
New
New
England,
Hampshire?
back to New Hampshire. A couple of years ago, Libby had a bobcat cross the road in front of her, and she just took it from there and followed some tracks and put some time in, did some work. As time went on, she found a den, and we've been photographing this location for a couple of years now. This particular photo right here is just
One in a million, one in a gazillion right here.
pretty unique opportunity. We've become very. These
Very
guys
attached
are
to
part
the
of us.
animals,
They're
yeah.
part of us. We're learning a lot. We're still learning.
Can you back up? I want to explain that picture though briefly. Okay, this is a special picture because on the far left is the mother. We've been photographing her for a couple of years. Like I said, 2 different sets of kittens she's had because they have a set every year. Well, this was during the very brief mating season.
Yeah.
She's always been there with her 2 kittens. The 2 kittens are on the far right, but the one in the middle, the big one, is the male. That's the dad of these 2 kits. It is a very rare thing to get the mother, the father, and the offspring together for a family portrait, but it just worked out. And he was only there for about an hour, but pretty special stuff.
It is.
These are the kittens. They're about 10 months old here.
Yep.
Mom and one of her kittens.
This was actually the very first day
Yeah.
of the first year.
Yeah. There's part of the den.
So, by the way, we call the mom on the left here. Her name's Leela, and the one on the right we call Braveheart. What was the other kitten? Shy Boy.
Yep. There's Leela and I think it's Braveheart.
I think it's Braveheart. Yeah.
Mother and
So,
daughter.
it's pretty fun moments. We just love it when it snows. Oh,
Yeah.
the bobcats are so unaffected by
Cats
it.
in the snow.
We just love these
They're so
the snow
soft.
days. You don't get
So-
many of them. I
so
think we got
soft, yeah.
over the course of both winters, we only got a couple days that with the soft. It's not just that it's snowing when it's snowing with no wind. So you
Right.
can get the soft look and the soft photographs.
Stand out there in the freezing cold and hope for the best. There's Leela. There's mom. Leela and one of her kittens. One of the kittens.
Layla.
So the reason they're looking at the camera is because they hear the shutters click. That's the only reason. They got to tolerate our presence to a degree and set the boundary, set the parameters where we could be and not. They ignored us for the most part, but anytime we click the shutter, they reacted to it because they're cats, you know.
So we're going to leave the still photos of the bobcats and a quick video. The video doesn't need explanation, but one thing I just wanted you to watch for, and it's one of the things Libby and I love about them. When they walk, they're so calculated where they're going to put their foot each and every step. Watch and see.
Yeah, it's like they're stalking always.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Have a look.
This was a reunion between mother and daughter. The mother had taken off with the son and left the daughter at the den. When she came back, she didn't seem very happy to see her daughter, but the daughter was thrilled to see her mother. The mother's the big orange one, obviously, Leela. And that's Braveheart.
Soft snowfalls.
Now this is unaffected cats, just being cats in their home. They're fluffy things.
All right, that's the Bobcat section. Just going to share some other wildlife with you folks, show you some of our favorite little buddies. This is very recent. This is our first experience with these piping plovers over on the coast.
Are they fun?
Won't spend too much time on them right now, but boy, we got a lot more to share on the Facebook page about these guys. They are just a ball. If you can picture a tiny little golf ball with a couple of toothpicks for legs, you got a little baby piping plover. They are just a riot. Bald eagles of New Hampshire.
Yeah, Lake Winnipesaukee, as a matter of fact.
Lake Winnipesaukee pair. Yeah. A little fish in the talons. Well, not so little, actually. It looks like a rainbow trout in the talons of the eagle on the right.
Would be the male because the female's bigger. Yeah.
The larger female is on the left. This is right here in Andover, right now, a town where we live. We call this eagle Holly for whatever reason. When we come up with that name, but got herself a good bass from an ice fisherman. Lib, you want to tell a quick story here?
Okay, this is an overachiever, type A eagle, wanting to impress his mate. She was up in the nest, rearranging every stick he brought in. And I guess he thought, well, I'll take care of this. And we were sitting there watching this. He flew off into the tree line. We thought, okay, that's the end of the show. We heard this loud fracture crack noise. And in he comes like a helicopter in trouble with this 15-foot stick. Tree, heck, man. So anyway, he's struggling and he eventually had to let it go. He couldn't, I don't know if he thought he could really get it up to the nest, but
he
let
it
it go.
Try.
And she was impressed.
Yeah.
She was impressed. A great horned owl with an owlet.
Yep.
Oh,
a few words just about our friend Jane Kelly, bird educator. Raptor rehabilitator, a dear friend of ours. Jane is really exceptionally good at team building, getting people involved, utilizing people around her, and calling it a team and loving the team work. She's a dear friend.
She does exceptional work with these
love
owls
her
and
dearly.
hawks and raptors.
This little guy we call Beach Ball, this little barred owl was hit by a car, and this is Jane releasing the bird. But we couldn't help but think it's just like a little ball in her hands. And look at little Beach Ball, he's looking up at her like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
She's done segments
the sweetest thing ever. Isn't that just
on Discover Channel with the
yeah, you could see her a little bit on Northwood's Law.
That's a
anyway,
barred owl.
A little bit of barred owl or kale.
Like barred owl. There's a snowy owl from Hampton Beach.
I got my kitty has just joined me on my lap here, Wilson.
The great gray owl. That's the great gray owl.
Close up of the face of a great gray owl.
They're flying ears. Okay. They like to hunt.
Say hi, Wilson.
Low.
Say hi, buddy.
They hunt from fence posts because they hunt with their ears when their prey is under the snow. And they can't see their prey under the snow. So the only way they can hunt is by using their hearing. And they can sense a mouse. They can hear a mouse from 50 yards away. I think even farther than that, but in like 2 feet of snow. So they tend to want to get low to hear their prey. And a fence post or my head will do. They are fearless. They're not afraid of humans. This is a wild bird, by the way. This is an unbaited, absolutely wild bird that just saw my head as a perch. I saw him take off from a tree, fly in toward me, and I had my lens trained on him, and I thought, he's going to land on my head. So I pulled the lens down just in time for him to find a safe perch. And he was very light, and I didn't feel his talons. They have very little talons. Very small talons.
Baby foxes.
Little foxes.
This actually typically would be, I guess, technically the year starts out in January working with usually snowy owls and things like that, some coast work as far as photography goes. But once spring comes around, it's usually baby foxes are usually first on the list. They usually pop out of little dens, you know, April sometime, depending on how north or south in the state. Yep, we love working with these little guys. They are the cutest ever. Wildlife in general, you know, I guess the little saying, nature is awesome, right? It just is. And all the different species, all the different behaviors, the habits, the challenges. It's just, we just love soaking it up and learning and sharing.
Yeah, we learned so much. This particular family, this year was the first year they occupied this den. Fox usually have 3 to 7 or 9, something like that, kits every year. Every year they mate for life. They have kits every year. This pair only had 1. The year before was a mast year, which meant there was a lot of acorns and beech nuts and stuff for the chipmunks to thrive on. So they had a lot of food to feed this youngster. Look at him. He didn't have to share it. And they had a lot of chipmunks to feed him. So little rascal there got nice and chubby.
Cool.
Next year they had 7.
We'll show you a few more fox pictures and some black bear. And
that's the parent.
Pretty tough photo to get right here.
That was odd.
Both
Parents
parents.
together, yeah.
I believe the male is on the right. Is that correct, Lib?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's true. Here's a little special photo Libby got a few years ago.
It happened by accident. I love that when it happens.
Little pine martin.
Yeah, some may not know what this is. It's a pine martin, member of the weasel family. And we all know what this is.
We all know baby bears.
Yeah, we love our baby black bears.
We just love bears.
Bear cubs.
I guess the thing I think of first when I think black bears is just how misunderstood they are.
Yes.
They're so misunderstood. They're actually, and their intelligence. They're super intelligent, pretty gentle animals, just very misunderstood.
And if you're looking for bears in the woods, a lot of times you want to look up in the trees.
Right. Bears spend a good part of their life off the ground in trees. That's for sure.
We have wild turkeys fighting in the tree outside.
We do.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right now.
Little wildlife activity going on outside the window,
Yeah,
folks.
right. We have wild turkeys fighting in the tree.
So what you're looking at here, folks, is a mom bear slowly waking up in the morning, and up above her in the crook of the tree, that isn't one little baby bear. That is actually
It's 4 cubs.
4 of them. 4 of them.
Yeah.
The little runt of the 4 comes down to be with mom.
It's a pretty special moment. And then it rained.
It
As you can
just
see, they got
outright
soaked.
rained.
Yeah. And he climbed up on her back, and it was a priceless moment. The other 3 were up in the tree playing, and as they came down the tree, the one on the bottom stopped. Now, when I say they were up in the tree playing, they were up like 40, 50 feet in the air playing on a branch. When they came down, the little one on the bottom stopped like 2 feet from the bottom of the tree, and he started whining and looking down around him like, how do I get down? And the other 2 kind of clambered down on top of him like, what's wrong? And that they kind of stacked on top of one another like that, and that's how Rick got that shot.
Mm-hmm. Pretty special moment right here.
Paw on the paw.
Just, yeah. You know, these moments, they just come here and there along the way, you know, not on a given day, but, you know, as the years go by, these moments kind of happen just a little bit here and there. You cherish them, you know.
Yeah, well,
Very soft moments here between mother and baby.
you spend time with them and you stay quiet, and they tolerate your presence. They set the boundaries as always, but you can get cozy and really witness a lot of behavior.
So here's how we wrap up. You know, a log with a hole in it and a baby
And a
bear,
bear.
you know, it's kind of easy to figure out what's going to happen here, right? So, boop.
Yeah.
That's how we like to close up. We're glad that all of you could join
I'm
us.
sorry for any video or audio snafus there, but maybe if you watch it again later, you can turn up the volume.
So before I do completely wrap up, I always like to close a show with just a few words, and it's a time. People who know me hear me say it. It's about just being grateful to be able to do this, and not just to be grateful, but to be humble. Be humble. Libby and I both are humbled that you folks are enjoying this. You're having fun watching this and allowing us to share part of our life with you. It's humbling, and our hearts are full of gratitude. Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming along. And here's our little nurture, respect, protect ending here. Thank you for joining us, and see you on the Facebook page.
And thank you, Loon Center. You do excellent
Thank you,
work.
Loon Center.
Well, thank you guys very much. I do have a few questions that came in. If you guys want to potentially stop sharing the screen for a little bit, we can do those. I've got a few, and then we can call it a night if you guys are good with that. And I need to make sure I don't lose track of that one last question that just came in. So I'm going to write that one down real quick.
Is the screen still on?
Yes.
Okay.
There
You
it
good
goes.
now?
Okay.
Now it's us.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Okay. As I said, I'm going to write down this one last question so I don't forget it, or so I don't lose it in the chat, and then I will be right there. Actually, I'll start with that one because it was what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Milton Weinstein asked, how far were you when shooting the baby bears?
No, we're a pretty good distance from the baby bears.
Yeah, that's a different type of work.
Yeah,
That
we have
is
bigger
super
lenses,
long.
Yep. Longer lenses, higher megapixel cameras. So we keep a very, very safe distance. Now, like I said, the animal sets the parameters. We come in to their territory. So sometimes they let us in a little bit closer. Sometimes we can get within, say, 75 feet of a bear. Usually though, it's
We like to
twice
stay
that.
a lot further than
Yeah.
that away. Yeah.
Twice that anyway.
Another question?
Elena Energy wanted to know how many ducklings were in that picture with the mergansers.
12 in the picture. She had 13. The 13th one, all the pictures I
I
took of
love
them,
that
the
question.
13th one never made it in the frame. She had 13 ducklings, and she did again this year.
Cool.
Lucky
Yeah.
13. Baker's
Yeah.
dozen.
Thanks for that question. Great question.
Yeah,
Love it.
prolific.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Donna
Merganser.
Deci, I guess I'm gonna guess that's how her last name or how the name's pronounced. Wanted to know where you guys were taking the Bobcat pictures.
That's
We're
near-
actually
we're in Andover, New Hampshire.
we're in Andover, but we're obviously not sharing that location. And it's all about respecting that particular Bobcat family. But it's right central, right here, right near us.
That makes perfect sense. I don't think she was asking for coordinates, but
All right,
Yeah,
right, yeah.
it's all good.
Nancy Pierce toward the beginning of it wanted to know what type of lenses you guys use.
Sure, I'll start. I shoot Nikon digital mirrorless cameras. I shoot with a 500 millimeter f5.6 telephoto lens, and I also work with shorter focal lengths when I can. Years ago, I would shoot with longer lenses, 600 millimeter, even 800 millimeter. But my go-to lens these days is 500 millimeters. Lip,
I have a 2 to 600 millimeter, and I use that for my long shot work. I have an extender for a TC teleconverter for it for a 1.4, so I get more reach with that. I have a 1 to 400 millimeter, 70 to 200 millimeters. So I got the range covered from 70 millimeters out to beyond 600, depending on what we're shooting. You know, you need a lot of millimeter for these
you do.
distant shots.
You do.
You can't go up with a cell phone and get these shots. You
But
can't.
we also should point out, you know, because when I think we should point out when people ask the question, you know, what kind of lenses and what focal length, we should also point out that today's cameras are very, very powerful, say, than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, there wasn't that many megapixels to work with. So today, even using these big lenses, we can further crop in on the photograph to get a nice clean photograph to show you these animals right up close in a very pleasing way, when actually we were a lot further away than what it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of times the actual photograph, it'll be the little dot in the center of the picture. And we blow that up so you can see what it is. That's how far away we can be at times. So, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Kitty Wilson used to show, when she did her presentations for us, she used to show this picture that was this loon nest in this humongous shot. Like it was
Yeah,
just
exactly.
a huge lake shot in this little like nest area. She's like,
Right.
and this is what I can crop to.
That's
Right.
right.
So it was
Exactly.
always that respect the distance. So it's
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's why it looks like we're on top of them when we're not.
Yeah. I remember her talking about that, which was always kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Milton Weinstein also earlier was wondering what lake you guys were shooting the loons on.
Yeah, we don't.
Just a local pond. Yeah, we really don't share, and it's not about any kind of selfish behavior. It's just more. It's all about respect. We'll just say it's just a local pond. There's many of them.
Yeah.
Actually, several.
I actually go to 4 different ponds to do loon work. So.
Yeah.
Well, there
One's
you
up
go.
in the White Mountains and a couple of them around here. One's up way up in the White Mountains.
One of my favorites for stuff is often it's a lake in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It's a lake in the Lakes region.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, we don't mean any disrespect, Milton.
No,
It's
not
just-
at all. Of
yeah.
course not.
I think most people probably get that part as well. You
Yeah.
Sure.
know, Gail H was wondering, at what time do full antlers usually appear? And that's not a bad question on her behalf. That's me trying to read my own handwriting.
When do full antlers appear?
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty simple answer. Moose antlers, as I mentioned during the show, they begin growing in March, but it's literally a day of the year, typically August 23rd. It sounds a little weird that it could be that one day, but it literally is. It literally is sometime between either the 22nd or the 24th. So let's say August 23rd, give or take a day, is when moose antlers are completely grown.
But that's just for the year. Now, if you're asking in the moose's lifespan, because they do grow bigger, depending on nutritional value, what kind of winters they've had, there are a lot of factors, their genetics. But as they grow through their life, their antlers will get bigger every year.
Bigger every year
And
until they're about 10 years old. And then their antlers will begin to get smaller as they get older in the end of their life.
So that answered that question from both angles and regarding how
Cool.
she wanted to ask that.
Allison Gorham wanted to know if Potbelly was still alive.
Is Potbelly still alive? Thank you for that question. Potbelly lived a very, very long life in moose years. She was a full 17 years old the last time I saw her. Potbelly's, I've been doing this a very long time. Potbelly was way back in the early days. I began photographing Potbelly about 17 years ago, 18 years ago. She's been gone now for half a dozen years. But she lived a complete, full life, tons of baby moose, just a marvelous animal in her area.
Awesome. Let's see. Brittany Page wanted to know, what state do you photograph? Do you do photographing in the most?
What state do we photograph
New
the
Hampshire.
most? New Hampshire. Yeah,
Hands down. New Hampshire.
hands down, New Hampshire. We work very close to home a lot, actually.
Well, that actually answers because as I said, I'm having a little bit of trouble because I'm scratching these really fast. My handwriting is terrible.
Okay.
The answer
It's
was
cool.
actually, what area of the state do you photograph in? So you just answered that one too.
Okay,
Close
cool.
to home.
Yeah.
Close to home. Yeah.
Yeah, Lakes region.
Yeah, we're in the Lakes region.
Allison Gorham also asked, what's a drop
Okay.
tine?
What's the drop time? Sure. Lib mentioned that drop tine on Bruce of the Bull. And what that meant was on that picture, most of the tines, typically they're all growing up, fingers of the antlers growing up. Well, Bruiser had a tine sticking down from the bottom of the antler. It was sticking down and growing down towards the ground. It's called a drop tine.
And it's not uncommon. It just makes the rack atypical.
Yeah.
An atypical rack.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Gail H had a picture or a question about one of your specific pictures, and that was that in the first Alaska picture, what was the black animal on the left?
The first Alaska picture was a panoramic of a bull and 2 cows with Denali and Foraker in the background. Is
Black
that the
animal
picture?
on the left.
No, there's a shadow of a bush on the left.
I think that was a shadow. Yeah. It was a
Okay.
shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to our Mooseman page on and see the photograph so you could see better. It's there on our Mooseman page website, on our website.
And you guys may have answered this one, but I don't remember. And I'll take the second half of it because it's two animals in one. But it's Ellison again wanting to know, do moose or loons mate for life?
Okay. Moose, no. Moose have a mating season. It's a free-for-all.
It is.
It's like deer and horses and stuff. It's just the guys want to get as many girlfriends as they possibly can. So there's no longevity to their relationships at all.
But what we should also put in along with what she said, there is an addition to that. It's about genetics, or nature tries to have it be about. I mean, a bull will sneak in and things can go wrong per se, as far as the strongest genetics in the area. But nature's intention is for this. That's what the fighting is all about. The fighting is for the winner. He usually wins because he's the strongest. So the nature's thinking is that he has the strongest genes. So that's why they fight, and that's why the winner has the mating rights to pass on the strongest genes in that particular area to make the strongest offspring.
But loons people have said that loons mate for life.
Which isn't true.
No, they mate for as long as they're successful at their job.
I think Kelly was going to take that answer anyway.
Oh, were you going? Oh, you're going to answer
Either one.
Go for it.
No, I mean, realistically, you're kind of going in the same direction I was going with it.
They have marriages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We call
it's a
them
marriage.
marriages.
The joke we always have is that they spend the summers together and vacation alone during the winter.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
They sure do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But with loons, it generally tends to be more a territory bond than it is a pair bond. I mean, there's a pair bond there, but basically, if the male and female come back to the same territory every year and nothing gets in the way, they'll mate together. But if something gets in the way, another loon, one of them doesn't come back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Massive failure of a nest.
Explain it. Yeah, that's a great way to explain it.
Massive failure from year to year. Then they will definitely mate with another bird. It's not the mate for life, as in the once their mate is gone, they will never mate again.
Right.
It's advantageous if they can stay together, because that way they do tend to get more acquainted. They get better raising their chicks together, but they will definitely mate with another bird if something goes wrong.
That's
Absolutely.
correct.
I've seen it.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Robert Kraus was, did they ever lose these antlers or lose the antlers mid-year in fights? And if so, what do they do then?
They do. They do lose antlers. If anybody recognizes or remembers when I said mismatch, when mismatch was coming in there wagging his head, now he has a deformed right antler. Is it his right or his left?
It's his right pedicle. The base of the antler is deformed at right where it comes out of his head, where it forms. So that antler is compromised, and every year, if he fights hard enough,
He
he will
usually-
lose.
yeah.
That just snaps off. We have photographs of him after a fight where he had lost that antler. So he's going around with one perfectly intact, healthy antler on the left side. The right one is completely gone. He was all bruised up and swollen in his face.
So
So that's unusual.
it is,
But
but
what usually happens is they'll break parts of their antlers off. In some of those videos, if you watch closely, you can actually see a piece of an antler breaking off in the Jake fight. And you can see after the Swagger fight, we did a close-up on a broken antler that he has. So they'll break off tips and parts. Sometimes they'll lose some of a brow tine, a tip of a royal tine, but it's rare that they lose an entire antler.
I don't know about everybody in the chat, but I'm learning a lot tonight.
Stick with us.
go get
Stick with you guys. Resi just put up one that was put up a question that was ticks are killing moose in Maine? Question mark.
ticks are killing moose. I was wondering when someone was going to ask that. This whole issue has, in a way, about 5 years ago, it broke my heart. What? Stop that. Run later. Sorry. My computer was starting a scan. Yeah, so the huge tick problem here in New England, I saw it start about 5 years ago. It's gotten very, very bad. The good news is I see it a little bit better this year, but we've lost a lot of our herd, particularly here in New Hampshire and in Maine. Maine has lost a tremendous amount of their moose. And again, I'm kind of heartbroken by this. I mean, it's such a big part of my life. It's very disturbing. It's still going on.
Well, it's not going to stop.
We wanted to show you this.
Global warming.
If we can,
You
if we
see
can put
it.
this in for a minute, as far as antlers go. So this is Left Hook's antler. You saw one of the fights. This is Left Hook's antler.
This is his shed from last year.
Kind of cool.
Look at the pedicle. This
So
is
you
how
can see my
it
hand,
goes on the base of the.
folks. You can see my hand and get a look at how big the base of it really is. So that's where it hooks
That's like
onto
a
the head.
forearm, right? This one only weighs what, 27 pounds?
I'm not sure what it weighs, but
Yeah,
anyway,
we
that's
shifted here.
that's about. Here's a look at a moose antler.
Yeah. That's about a mid-sized moose right there.
Probably sort of answers the question, one of the questions we had, which was Dean Parsono asking, what happens with the shed antlers?
Who asked that question?
Dean.
Dean.
Dean, my friend Dean.
Parsono, yeah.
I love it. Hey, Dean. Yeah, that one's really easy. There is a whole thing. It's called shedding. People actually hunt for them and whatnot. It's illegal to take them in some places, but depending on where it is, it's either legal or not legal. But that's not the real answer. The real answer to what happens to moose antler is rodents. They get eaten.
Yeah.
Whether it's mice, squirrels, anything that gnaws, just loves chipmunks. Moose antlers get consumed. There's a lot of nutritional value in the antler. Now, some of them just sit there and decay. Don't get me wrong. They don't all get consumed, but for the most part, they are eaten.
Very cool. Looks like we got probably two more questions here. One from Brian Gontkovsky. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. Asking, have you ever photographed or attempted to photograph wolves?
No.
Well, we have some wolf photographs, yes.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're hard to get in the wild.
They are.
Very hard.
They're hard to get in the wild.
You want to talk about, you need a long lens and a lot of time, because that's what it's going to take. So
it's doable, but
Yeah.
but no, we haven't really photographed wild wolves.
Okay, and I think the last question I've got, unless someone else has snuck one in on me. Nope, is from Robert Krause again, asking, how do bullfights end? someone injured, or does one just back down?
It's usually when they can end in a lot of different ways, but it's usually when one bull is getting pushed really hard and really getting moved in the wrong direction, which is backwards. If another bull is getting pushed backwards in a significant way, that can end the fight. Different things can end it though. There can be a goring. Moose can die during a moose fight. We haven't seen that happen, but they can die. They can get stabbed. They can get punctured. They can be killed. But most of them, now some of them are kind of like over before they start when they're sizing up each other, and one bull will figure out that he picked on someone a little bigger than he should have, and the fight, he'll turn around and walk away.
Yeah, we've been there.
It's
with our
very
cameras ready for
complex,
that.
the whole thing, and we love trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
But it usually ends with a clear winner. Someone is stronger and someone did some heavy pushing, and that's the typical ending.
And the way they end at that moment is the one that is the loser just walks away.
Yep.
And stands and sulks. There's no other way to describe it.
He's just pouting.
He stands and sulks. And he doesn't want his picture taken.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
He looks at you like, and he puts his ear down like, don't.
And we've learned that, and we don't stick around.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But the victor just goes grunting off looking for the cows.
Yeah.
It's just okay, onward to the cows.
Or on to the next fight.
On to the next fight.
Yeah.
They're hard to get on film. They really are. You can't predict when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. You can't read body language and know this is a fight that's going to go down, because they can head wag at each other and then just walk right past each other. So,
thank you for all these great questions.
wonderful questions.
Really good questions. Fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Paul, for
thanks
being-
everybody for all of the awesome questions. And since it doesn't look like we've got any others that have popped up,
Okay.
I think that's it for the evening.
Wonderful.
So thank you, Rick and Libby, for doing
I
our
have a question.
Oh, okay.
If people want to rewatch this, because I've already been asked,
Mhm.
how do they go about rewatching it?
YouTube actually is recording it for us.
So it's just going to be a YouTube.
Yep, it'll be
video.
a YouTube video on our channel.
Loon
It
Center.
might take me a day or so to figure out exactly how I get it where people can actually watch it. Because most of the test ones I've done have been stuff that we didn't actually want to publish.
Right.
It's been a couple people just babbling at each other, so it wasn't worth putting out there.
Okay.
I don't think it's that hard, so I'll probably work on it tomorrow morning.
No, it's not that hard. So
So
right,
basically and if I can't figure it out, I know I've got a couple people who I can definitely call on and say, hey, how do I do this?
Cool.
So yeah, maybe give me a day or so and it should be up on our YouTube channel.
awesome.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All set?
Yep. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you
Yay.
all. Thanks for
Thank
being here.
you.
Now, so bye everybody.
Bye-bye.
Be safe out there.